Pace car is off. 200 laps around the 2-mile track. The Pure Michigan 400 is underway. Fanning out.
Didn't waste any time. Paul Menard, you can see, make a dive to make it 3 wide there. Casey Kane went to the high side. He told me last night his car really was good up on the top part of the racetrack.
It seems like that's where Casey Kane likes to run, and he can carry that momentum and use it to his advantage better than most.
Tony Stewart all the way at the bottom of the racetrack in that 14 when he crossed the start-finish line. The car jumping. There's that little bump in the track at the very lowest part of this front stretch, created from where they did some renovations to the under-track pedestrian tunnel a couple of years ago. This racetrack to be repaved starting Tuesday, but you'll see the guys that go all the way to the bottom of this front stretch having to hop that little bump there just past the start-finish line.
Engine and enough to have enough downforce, and they can't afford for something like that to get on there to mess the whole deal up.
Yeah, it used to be this was the worst place that we came at the start of this race. You would have hot dog wrappers and everything else out there, and it would get clogged up. They've done a much better job with the fencing and fans putting their trash in trash cans, and it's really helped that situation.
Right. This has been the worst track for that in the history.
So Matt running second behind his Roush Fenway Ford teammate Greg Biffle, who has paced all of the laps so far in the Pure Michigan 400. The Biff trying to break through in 2011 with a Michigan victory. Dave, thanks. Debris in turn number 1 has brought out the first caution of the race, and those green flag pit stops have just turned into caution flag pit stops, and probably for a lot of these teams just in the nick of time.
I promise you, there's some drivers that want some adjustments that they wouldn't have been able to get on a green flag stop.
That Carl Edwards heading to pit road as we go green.
Just feels something weird there. Maybe we can get all the wheels tight.
Kyle Busch with a moment there in that 18 car.
Quite a few of those on these restarts. They're just so fun to watch.
The hood up on this 99 car, they got something serious going on.
There's that outside run you were talking about, that momentum, DJ.
Yeah, but Kenseth able to hang pretty tough there on this restart, a little more than he did at the start of the race.
How about the 00 car, Dave?
Yeah, I was going to actually give you the injury update on him, but David Reagan as well, right in front of him now making the pass. Reagan said he was sore this week, but crew chief Drew Blickensderfer said that David Reagan never complained about it, even in a 700-lap test at Martinsville this week for Goodyear. David Ruderman, on the other hand, right behind him, drafting the 00. His left side pretty banged up. He got physical therapy and ice this week. Ruderman said, you know, the ice was the worst part. They just left it on there. Too long.
700 laps at Martinsville after that. Yeah, that's going to be a long day.
Sometimes that's not a bad idea, just to get back in the car and work those parts that are hurting, because that's the only place that you're going to do that is inside the race car.
About a quarter distance into today's Pure Michigan 400, riding with Clint Boyer, who was one of those bubble drivers in the race to the chase, and he's come a long way since the start of this one.
He had a long way to go, but he has come a long way, and heard a lot of people talk about Clint Boyer's car yesterday in practice. Really went through the corners well, so they thought that with this racetrack allowing you to be able to make passes, that he would find his way up into that top 15 pretty early.
Boyer started back in 35th position, and he is in 16th spot right now. Earlier in the race, first call of Kyle Busch's number on the day is running up into that front group.
Yeah, and I think that shows a lot, too, of kind of the maturity of Kyle Busch, where in maybe the last few years you're seeing now he's got a nice run, going to make it 3 wide going into turn 3. I was just going to talk about how patient he's been. but he is making his way, you know, given kind of what the car and the track's giving him, not pressing the issue. Got plenty of time. He's realizing now that these races are literally won at the end, and I don't mean to state the obvious, but you don't have to get there and lead all the laps. You know, you can take your time, get there, and make it happen when it counts.
Great job. And just a moment ago, right after that radio, Kyle said, boy, this ain't bad. And you can always tell by the tone of their voice how happy they are. And that is certainly welcome relief for Kyle Busch because they started the weekend great. Dave Rogers told me we rolled off the truck so fast, and then we tweaked on it a little bit, and it got wrecking loose, and then we couldn't get back to where we started. So they made some changes coming into this race. He said we'll have some adjustability in it. They seem to have hit the sweet spot for Kyle Busch in that 18.
Busch 16 and 18 came off the pit lane together. They haven't been very far apart.
Kyle Busch has had to lead a few times, but not officially. Greg Biffle won't let him lead at the line. So been great, entertaining racing here. Two guys that love to stand in the gas. They're at the right place.
Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch farther back. This is for 10th and 11th spots.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson lost a lot on that green flag around the stops when he had to get kind of cockeyed in his pit stall, had to slow down getting there, and it cost him 4 or 5, 6 spots. On the other hand, Kurt Busch seems to have his car going again.
See you. We're done.
He was 19th at the time when this happened.
It almost looked like a tire was going down there because you could see he was trying to catch it, trying to keep going. Then all of a sudden, the rear end just broke
Hello,
through.
and 1 and 2. 4 tires. 4 tires and fuel. 4 tires and fuel.
Look, the tires look to be up.
Remember Hamlin right on that bubble in the race to the chase. Jamie?
And they were banking on having a great run here today. They felt like their chances of winning were even better than in the spring when they won. He told the team, you heard him, he got into the wall, 4 tires here.
Following up on a couple of stories we talked about earlier and the strength of Brad Keselowski, currently running 4th.
I tell you what, though, the thing that's been interesting about it, he's talking about his car getting a little bit loose as we've been listening to him. It's going to be interesting to see if he can hang on to that race car, been a little banged up.
In fact, he was just talking to Paul Wolfe over his radio. He may be having a few problems in the cockpit.
Long way pit, man. I'm getting really loose now. Almost feels like I got a flat. Need less than 10. Less than 10. You're doing fine. If you have to give up a little bit of time, you have plenty of room.
I'm sure that Matt Kenseth is totally happy with his race car right now. He beat these guys off pit road, but once they got back on the track, it hasn't been quite as strong. But those are 2 very fast race cars that's gone by.
What are they saying about that 17, Dave?
It's Matt that's doing the talking, and he used 4 reallys, and then he said loose. So they were loose. They made an air pressure adjustment, but now he said really, 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 really loose.
How loose is that, Dave?
Yeah, that's on a scale of loose to loose, it's really loose.
All right. Denny Hamlin has come back onto the racetrack. Jamie, what were they fixing?
Well, they took him back to the garage. Of course, you know, you heard he hit the wall, right front damage. I asked Mike Ford, his crew chief, he said the splitter bar cut the tire down, but there was no serious damage to the shock or rotor or anything else. His driver's frustrated, but that crew chief is hot right now, guys. The last 3 races, 27th, 15th, 36th. If they want to get in the chase, they needed to perform today.
The caution flag is waving as Johnson is down and away. Johnson makes his final stop. Everyone else can make their stop under yellow.
Finally, something went right.
Yeah, buddy, that was a good one, Chad.
Now, wait a minute, I might have to question that. Finally something. They've had 5 pretty good years.
There's the reason for the caution. The 36 car of Dave Blaney was coasting very slowly around the racetrack and was going to be coming onto pit road, coasting at a very slow speed while guys were diving off at full speed to make green flag pit stops. That could have gotten ugly. Here we go, 28 laps left. I always want to hold my breath coming off the turn 2 until they sort that out.
I was literally holding my breath, waiting to see what was going to happen here.
And you're doing the same thing in the race car. I can promise you. It's very tense moments, but a lot of fun. So Jamie McMurray up on the high side already trying to make some ground.
Kyle faster than Jimmy again that last lap.
It looks like both of these cars have something on the grill. See something on Kyle's car, too.
Is this the move?
I don't think you'll be able to complete the pass right here now. He is continuing to work him. You have to be careful. Now, use up your tires in this situation, too. As you try to get down, you got to turn the wheel a little bit more. That'll put a little more heat in those front tires.
6th and 7th. Kurt Busch
into the wall again.
Caution. Caution is out. Oh boy.
Right front tire.
Almost made it to the finish. He had hit the wall again about 10 laps ago, and it looks like it probably just rubbed the hole.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man, that was a pretty big hit. It was probably from that contact earlier.
He was running 12th at the time. That hurts. And you know, this team is not guaranteed a spot in the chase, Kurt, so they can't afford really bad points days in these last few weeks. That hurts. They have 2 laps to go to settle it in Michigan. Contact back in the pack. So far, everybody's straight. Kyle Busch clears Johnson off of 2.
And he really sidetracked Johnson going down into 1 and held Jimmy's car, got him a little bit free. Jeff Burton back in the pack out of shape.
You got a lot of cars in the pack that have new tires. They're trying to do something with them. 4 wide.
Newman and Kane. Kane, one of those with fresher tires on the right side.
Newman also has 2 tires on that right side.
White flag.
White flag.
Next flag ends the race. Kyle Busch, 5 car lengths on Jimmy Johnson. Here's Mark Martin looking at the outside.
Jeff Gordon struggling off of turn 2 there. Might give up another spot here.
That's Ryan Newman with tires.
With a sense of urgency.
Keselowski trying to make a run on the inside.
Jamie McMurray scraping the wall as the field comes off the final corner. Kyle Busch for the 4th time this year and the first time in Michigan